I rise to speak to my amendment. My amendment to House Bill 5384 would add language creating the Detroit Education Commission, a centralized coordinating body. The Detroit Education Commission is a step toward actually fixing the educational landscape in Detroit, one that follows a very successful model in Washington, D.C.'s school system. Since 2000, Detroit has lost 40% of its school-age children, and at the same time, 100 new schools were opened. Specifically, Detroit has seen the opening and closing of 164 schools, both charter and DPS. Of that number, during the last 7 years, DPS opened 18 new schools and closed 95 schools. During that same period, the charter school community opened 42 and closed 9. This has led to consequences for our kids and our neighborhoods. It simply is not common sense decision making. In addition, we know that some charters are doing well and others are completely failing. We need in Detroit a centralized coordinating body to actually address Detroit's education problem. Having 12 separate authorizers closing and opening schools with no single standard of accountability leaves us in a hodgepodge lack of a system that ends up hurting all of our kids. We need a fair and level playing field. Our kids deserve a centralized body to coordinate the opening of schools. The maps that some of you may have seen about the locations of high schools throughout the city of Detroit illustrate exactly why. In Northeast Detroit, there are 6,018 high school age kids and only 2 high schools. In Greater Downtown, there are 1,894 high school age kids and 11 high schools. A centralized coordinating body would ensure that we have a single standard of accountability for both traditional public and charter. It would ensure that the opening of any new school is based on objective standards, take proposals to open new schools in underserved areas, and hopefully provide a common application and transportation system. In Senate Bill 710, there is great language regarding the Detroit Education Commission. Language in this amendment that was agreed upon by the governor, the Senate, and a number of Detroit stakeholders. It is extremely disappointing that we have failed to take this bill up in the House and ensure that along with the funding, we actually address the root of the problem. We simply cannot have a bill package that virtually guarantees that we will be back here in a few years because we haven't actually addressed the problem of the oversaturation of schools in some areas and the lack of schools in others. Simply speaking, the commission is needed to help level the playing field and help create a system of schools that is attuned to the needs of our students. I ask my colleagues to support my amendment. Thank you.
Thank you, Representative Chang. The question before the House is on the adoption of the amendment. The clerk will open the board. The amendment is not adopted.